Hi everyone, Mindless Autumn here. If you are new here, hello, nice to meet you. And if you are returning, welcome back. I am going to be talking today about starting a brand new bullet journal from scratch and how to get past the fear of the first page. And some different ideas of things to put on the first page just to get started, because that first page is the hardest part for a lot of people, and hopefully one of these ideas will work for you so that you can start having fun with your bullet journal. If you are brand new to bullet journaling and don't know all the terms and what goes into a bullet journal, it can be really confusing. So I have made a free printable that you can get from my website, mindlessautumn.com, and I'll have the link to that down below in the comments as well. And it starts with what I'm talking about today, the key and the index, and then goes into some other things that people use their bullet journal for. And I will be having videos about all of those in the future, so if that's something you're interested in, then definitely hit that subscribe button so you'll be able to find those easily, and the notification bell so that you will be notified when new videos come out. I've also pulled out a couple of my previous notebooks just so we can compare the differences depending on which notebook you get. When you open it, most of them have a spot for you to put your name at the very beginning. So that's in pretty much all of them. If you use a different notebook and it doesn't have that, you can always write that on your very first page if you want to. A lot of people I know have put their phone numbers or email addresses or some type of contact information. If you accidentally leave it at a grocery store or a restaurant or something, frequently people will contact you and return it to you. So that can come in handy for a lot of people. Loic term just goes straight to the index. Variables that matter has the key first and then the index. And the dingbats has a couple different types of keys. So there's one they call a tab key here, and a dingbat key, and then the index. So an index is basically a table of contents or a glossary telling you what page number you can find things on. If your notebook does not have numbered pages, you can always just write the numbers in yourself. I have gone through and just numbered like the first 20 pages, and then as I go I add more numbers so that I don't have to sit there and fill out the entire book at once. If your notebook does not have a index like this already built into it that you can just fill in as you go, then you may have to just write the word index up here and create one yourself, but that's really easy. Or some people actually prefer to find what they're looking for without the index. They'll just use washi tape on the edges of the page to indicate what month they're in and separate months. So you could use a piece of washi tape to separate. You can see really easily where the edge is, even when the book is shut, and that'll differentiate that page. So you could do one of those for each month so you know where each month starts and stops. Or if you wanted to mark your expense log, for example, you could put one of those on every time you have an expense log so that you could find them more easily without having to use the index. And then this one doesn't have a spot to put a key at all. So in that case, I generally will write it on the inside cover of the book, like I did with this one. And the key is basically just little symbols, are also known as signifiers, to help you determine if it's a task or an appointment or something is due, like a deadline, or if it's urgent, all those little things. So you don't have to write complete sentences for everything. You just use the little symbol like this on the side. So the way I did the square meant that it was something for me to do. If I put the X through it, it meant that it's already done. If I do the arrow, that means that I'm migrating it to do in the future. And there's a symbol for pretty much anything you could imagine. And that's how that works. And you can decorate and make this as pretty as you want if that's something you want to do, or you can just write what it is. So on my printable, you will see these are the signifiers that I put. The dot indicates it's a task. That's basically a to-do item. The X through it means the task has been done. The arrow to the right means that you are migrating it. The arrow to the left means that I'm scheduling it. So I'm actually putting it in my future log in order to do that later. The little line means that it's a note. These are the signifiers that I think are used the most, but you can always come up with different ones that work better for you, or sometimes I'll add a little birthday present looking box to remind me when it's someone's birthday, or use a square instead of a dot for my to-do tasks. Some notebooks will also have a spot for color coding, and the Dingbats has something that they call a tab key, and you could use either of these to help you determine what it is that something means in the book, or to help you find something in the book like you would with the index or the washi tape. The color coding is helpful if you are scheduling a lot of different things, or for multiple people. You can use a different color for each person so that when you're going through the book, it's easier to see what topic or person that section is relating to without having to have a little symbol for every single person. And then the tab key, I color coded as well, but you don't have to as long as you make sure it lines up. I put that my YouTube ideas are going to be on this line, and they're going to be in this kind of salmon-y color. And so when I flip through, I can easily see that that's marked on this page. So now that we know what a key and an index are, let's get to the fun/scary part. And what do you actually put on the first page? One of my favorite things to do on the front page is hand lettering, and I am definitely not the best at it, but I've been practicing. And so you could do a quote, you could do your word of the year or word of the month, or your current goal. That could be the goal of the year or the goal of the month. and just write that on the first page. So this is what I decided to do this time. Got my name, my word of the year, and my themes for my YouTube channel. My handwriting is not as perfect as I would like it to be, but I definitely feel like I'm getting better. So that's one idea. You could also do song lyrics. You could also just leave the first page blank. Having a blank slate every day when you open up your notebook and see that as your first page can also be really motivating for some people. If you're artistic, you could draw or sketch something on the front page. Since I am not super artistic, I am taking a color book and cutting a piece to tape into here. So I'm using this crafter's tape to tape in the pages from the color book. And I've already colored these in, obviously, but you could put them in before you color them, and then you have something to color later if you are sitting somewhere bored and have your bullet journal. Will give you something to do. You could also do something like this with pictures, whether they're the kind that you print out that have the sticker backs like the Sprocket, or whether they're more like a scrapbook style. You could put those in here on the first page as well. Since I don't like how this turned out, so another thing you could do is just tape and tape and turn the page, and that never happened. It's like magic. Ta-da! Fix that mess I made. So that's bonus tip for you. Since I did my doctor's, I decided to do a quote as well. And as you can see, it is not exactly centered, it's not exactly perfect, and you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. The more practice you get, the easier it gets and the better it looks. It really doesn't have to be perfect. It has to work for you. So if making it pretty and taking your time to put things in that make you smile is important to you, then go ahead and do that. But don't worry about what anybody else is doing or saying or thinking about your journal, because it is yours and not all of us think the same way or have the same lifestyle, schedules, or goals. So we're not going to have the same journals either. And there's no reason that we have to use the same format or even the same book in order to get the same satisfaction and use out of it. So come back next week where I will show you about future planning and what the difference is between a future log and a Calendex. And I will see you next time. Bye.